Okay, so we're gonna start in just a moment. Still let some more people come. A lot of people coming. You're gonna get a number. Be a lot of people.
It's real bad. It's
A lot of people coming.
Yes.
If anyone wants to get a tea before we start, there's tea in the other room there.
They were pretty well contained.
I'll just go.
Why do we allow?
Hey, long time no see. Good to see you. Joe. Good to see you.
Excellent. Thank God.
You would have.
Well, house here.
So, we should the bus.
Okay. Let me have everyone's attention. First of all, thank you, everyone, for coming. Yeah, guys, just keep it down a little bit. If anyone's playing anything on their phone, just tone it down. Yeah. Is there a phone on?
Somebody's upstairs.
His phone again.
Somebody speak on the speaker.
Have the radio on. Okay. You know, I have a feeling of deja vu. I remember in the late 70s when I gave my first speech at the Sherry Tefillah Synagogue, when I spoke on behalf of the Jewish Defense League in the late 70s. And the issues then were there were neo-Nazi groups that were picking on Jews. We had Ernst Zundel here, who was the world's most infamous and active neo-Nazi who was distributing Holocaust denial material worldwide. He lived, and his address, his headquarters was at 206 Carlton Street. We took action back then against those Nazis. I remember, yeah, one of my mentors was one of the leaders of the French resistance during the Holocaust, Charles Wittenberg. And he led an organization in Toronto before the JDL called N3. It was composed of a lot of Holocaust survivors. And they went after the Hitler lovers at that time and beat the daylights out of them. There's no question about that. No apologies for any of that. They were not afraid of jail or anything, especially after the Holocaust. And so I had meetings with them. And we were talking about the various neo-Nazi groups and anti-Semitic organizations that I was dealing with and we were concerned with and the JDL was focused on. And I remember several meetings, and one of the meetings, after we took care of a lot of Nazis, I mean, we really took care of Nazis back then. And he said, just like we chased them, you chased them. You know, when I was growing up in public school, when I was like early teens, very early teens, I went to Faywood Public School. And there were so many Jews, friends that I had then, Jewish friends that had the same parents, Holocaust survivors. And we used to ask ourselves, amongst ourselves, if you were alive then, what would you do? And we used to think about that. And you know, I'm proud to say that myself and a lot of people who were like second generation survivors, that's I guess how you refer to children of parents of the Holocaust, that we did what we had to do against anti-Semites, neo-Nazis. We hunted Nazi war criminals too. We didn't just write letters, nice letters, right? You know, there's a Nazi war. There was one war criminal who lived on Warden Avenue, close to the lake. Leonard Talnero, his name was. He was part of the Iron Guard from Romania. I think it was June 22nd, 1941 in Bucharest. They rounded up Jews. They rounded up Jews in Bucharest and put them on trucks and drove them to the kosher slaughterhouse. And they slaughtered the Jews and they stamped them kosher meat. And he was one of the commandants, Talnero. And we went after him. And when I say we went after him, I hope you get the picture. We weren't playing games. Traveled to the States looking for Nazi war criminals, hunting them, and different cities in Canada, a lot of Nazis. And we went after neo-Nazis, like I said. Today, what's going on is exactly what we were talking about. For many years, I brought in a lot of speakers here, some from Europe, to talk about the problem of what they call radical Islam. And in Europe, it's already almost gone to that threat. But in Canada, they have come through immigration here. And unfortunately, we have, hey, Mike, we have Jewish leaders here who actually meet with some of these radical Islamic leaders and sanitize them. And anyone who tries to speak out against them is considered an enemy of peace. So obviously, when I brought in speakers like Pamela Geller and a lot of other people and Kurt Wilders here, we're enemies of peace. There's the rabbi of the Bayat and Bernie Farber, former leader of the Canadian Jewish Congress. They befriended an imam. He's a moderate Muslim leader, Ibrahim Hindi. It got to the point that they even had an exchange. They would bring members of the congregation to Ibrahim Hindi's congregation in Mississauga to show how great things are. The head of security, he was the former president of the Bayat. He had a security meeting with members of the Jafari Center, the Islamic Jafari Center at Rutherford and Bathurst. Why am I saying this? Because Ibrahim Hindi, for instance, on his social media platform, Twitter and Instagram, he went on a rant. He's been going on a rant for the past week. Every day he posts a video, another video. Posts a video. People are asking Muslim leaders to condemn Hamas. Will you condemn Hamas? No, he won't condemn Hamas. And he blames the problem on Israel. He blames the problem on Israel, what's going on. He doesn't go on about Jewish babies being slaughtered, Holocaust survivors being slaughtered. The fault is the Zionists. You watch the videos, they're proud of their videos from the Jafari Center. They blame it on Israel. Everything is Israel's fault. And so what do we see? We see, for instance, a cafe that's owned by Jews that's attacked. It's fair game. Go after them. We see in the United States, in Detroit, a Jewish leader who believes in peace, who's the president of a synagogue, knifed to death. They don't know who did it. It happens to be in the writing of Rashida Tlaib, who blames Israel for everything. The Zionists, a Zionist conspiracy. What we have today is a greater threat to the safety and security and well-being of the Jewish community than any other time. Not compared to the days of the late 80s, of the late 70s and 80s, when the enemy was neo-Nazi groups and Ernst Sundel. That's a picnic compared to what we have to deal with right now. The issue is so severe. And our leadership, again, when you have major synagogues befriending, they need to apologize to our community. The rabbi of the Best Tzedek, they facilitate a meeting with a guy by the name of Shaul Magid. He's got a PhD. He wrote a book against Rabbi Meir Kahane. It's the greatest dangers for the Jewish people, according to him. That was awesome. They roll out the red carpet for Shaul Magid. Shaul Magid publicly says he's against Israel as a Jewish state. I went to the Best Tzedek to raise some questions to attend the meeting. They actually hired police to make sure that I'm not going in there to ask him a question. Can you believe that? That's the leadership. And the rabbi emeritus of the Best Tzedek, he sanitized various Islamic leaders. One who said he was referring to Jews who visit the Temple Mount, the Jews with their filthy feet, and he said death to the Jews as well. Sanitized them and said he really didn't mean it so much like that. And that imam is from an organization called the Muslim Association of Canada. They have conferences where they bring in people who call for an intifada in North America. And we have some rabbis who sanitize them. What's there to do? There's a few things to do. And first off, before we get to what should be done, just think about it for a moment. If you were living during the times of the Holocaust, what would you do? What would you do? Would you hide? Would you try to fit in? Would you try to fit in? Would you maybe change your name to more of a German-sounding name to try to fit in? Would you protest? Would you learn to fight? Would you consider this as your back is against the wall and you have no choice and you have to do anything to help your brothers and sisters? That's where we're at right now. So what we have to do is a few things. One, we have to identify horrible leadership in the community. And if there's good leadership, give credit. But if there's horrible leadership and they're making excuses for radical Islamic, they're not radical, they're normal in their community. Islamic leaders that want Israel destroyed, and by extension, in their terms, all the evil Zionists, which means Jews, 90% of all Jews in our community and in all Jewish communities, we have to expose them. We have to expose them. No problem with the little noise. We have to be sharp about what's going on in the Islamic community. We need to know who's who. Everything. We need to win the battle on social media. We need good, skilled people for that. And one more thing, what we need to teach Jews and our friends how to fight. And when I mean fight, when I learned martial arts, old school, it was not going after another kind of belt. It was learning how to belt. It was learning how to, the greatest fighting, in the words of Meir Weinstein, dirty fighting. Fast. So we have people that are ready to train those who are interested, and we need to reach out also in the community to our youth and train them. What's going on campuses? Jews are being attacked, Jewish students. What's going on at a cafe? You imagine you're done for the night, you want to walk out of that cafe and leave, and you're being followed to your car. What are you going to do? You need to know what to do. You need to know what to do. We need an attitude change in our community too. And that attitude is summed up in 2 words: no fear. There's a lot of fear in our community. No fear. We need confidence in our community. We need confidence in our community. We need to learn how to fight. People say Krav Maga. I know all kinds of instructors. It depends on the personality. A lot of different methods work, but you need to learn how to be a vicious fighter. That's it, because the enemy of the Jewish people, they're vicious. They're vicious. And how do you fight them? You fight them. That's it. No questions. You fight them. You fight them. Other things? We could train Jews how to shoot. A lot of people know how to shoot nowadays. Legal?
Yeah,
Perfectly legal.
I got 100 acres for them this year.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. We have to do that. Soon. We'll take questions soon. So fighting on different levels, fighting on social media, gathering intelligence, information, knowing who the enemy is. They hide behind different names, different BDS names. University of York University, the student organization, issued a statement supporting what Hamas did, slaughtering our people. Slaughtering our people. And that is happening on every campus, by the way. You imagine being a student there? I'm banned from York University because when a little tiny Jewish girl, Lauren Isaacs, held an event in 2019 to bring reservists on duty to speak on campus. And all the BDS groups said, we're going to stop it. We're going to beat up the Jews. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. I thought about Lauren Isaacs 2 months before that event, that she had a table in Berry Hall with a sign. I'm a Zionist. Ask me any question about Israel. And she was surrounded by Muslim students, and she was spat on, called a dirty Jew. It was all on camera from York University Security, and they did nothing. They did nothing. So I thought they did nothing then, and she's going to have her event, and they're already saying what they're going to do. So I mobilized the Jewish community. I mobilized people from the JDL. And I've seen people there that night that I haven't seen in years. And we took care of business, and they were not able to shut it down. The result was there was some violence on campus, not instigated by us, but finished by us. And they had some kind of a commission of inquiry where they hired a judge to look into all the matters, and they decided, in order to make matters better for York University, we're going to send a letter to Meir Weinstein and ban him for life from York University. It's a badge of honor, but that's what we're up against. But nonetheless, I'm not deterred. I don't back down from anti-Semites. And none of the people here, I believe, are ready to back down either. And that's what we have to do. So we have to have courage, no fear, and get busy and put meaning behind the term. Never again. That's it. Take that term, 2 terms, to bed with you as a mantra. No fear and never again. Our Jewish leadership, they're weak. They're weak, and they're not meeting. There was a lawsuit filed today against York University by Diamond Law against York University for anti-Semitism, a $30 million lawsuit. I spoke to them, so I want to give them some information. How come the UJA and CJA isn't suing York University? How come that's not happening? Or B'nai B'rith? They put out good press releases. How come it's and it's great that there's a law firm in our community that wants to do something for our community. But what's going on with the Jewish leadership? They're not doing it. They get paid huge salaries, and they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. That's why we're having this meeting tonight, to get busy, because we're not going to wait. And during the Holocaust, you had your Jewish councils. You had your Jewish councils that assisted in drawing up lists of who's going to the camps. You had that. And in the Warsaw Ghetto, the only way the Warsaw Ghetto uprising was successful is because the resistance fighters decided, we have to get rid of these collaborators. And they did. Now, I'm not saying to use violence against our Jewish leaders, but they have to be called out. And we have to know who's speaking the emes and who is not speaking the emes. Anyways, listen, we have a lot to do, but that's what we have to do. So I want to thank everyone for coming out, and I'll take questions. So thank you very much. You asked first.
Right.
Yes.
More not a question, but an observation. I mean, I've been in and out, you know me, I've been around
Yep.
since the 70s as well.
Yep.
I look around, there's half a dozen people under 50 years old. You mentioned recruiting in campuses. This is an opportunity for all of us.
Yep.
Everybody's anxious. We can move ahead nicely, but we need to rebrand. JDL is toxic. The Jewish community, amongst businessmen, spiritual leaders, everyone.
Yeah.
We need to think about that. Recruit on campus.
Yeah.
That's what we need to go. We need to recruit 50 to 100 people that are committed to protecting our Jewish synagogues, our cemeteries, our businesses,
Yeah.
and show up in force. We don't need to fight them, but we'll be there. If we have to, we will, and we'll train. But the only way to do this is to have committed people who are going to, have their pickup trucks or whatever we need
Yep.
to show up with 30 to 50 people at once.
Right.
A show of force like that. And I think you're going to get business people that will support that financially.
I already have.
And another,
I already have.
well, and explain it to us.
Yep. I already have
Go ahead.
people.
Let's hear
I
it.
have people in the community who have contacted me prior to even setting up this meeting to bring the organization back. Let me say something about JDL. For the record, JDL is not an organization. Okay? JDL is not an organization. The Jewish Defense League is a concept. It's the emes of Judaism. It's the spirit of Samson. It's the spirit of the Maccabees. It's the spirit of the Irgun who fought the British to get them out. It's in sync with Judaism. It's the response that Jews should have in the world of emet, of truth, to anti-Semites. We don't hide. That's what the Jewish Defense League is. It's something that every Jew who's honest thinks about. When you think about going after Nazis back in yesteryear, Jewish Defense League. When you think about going after terrorists, the same thing. Those who want to kill us today, it's the same thing. So those who want a t-shirt, who don't want a t-shirt, it's the exact same thing. As long as we're standing up to the enemy of the Jewish people, that's what it is. It is toxic on campus. And
It is.
listen, well,
Every day.
listen, we'll have no question about it. There's no problem with that. No problem. No problem.
Doing the job, not the name.
Wait, go ahead. Then I'll come to you. Go ahead.
Going back to on campus.
Yep.
I mean, there's people here and in the past.
Can you stand up, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
So I have a daughter who goes to Ryerson.
Mhm.
And, she gets intimidated every day. She's afraid to go to school. She takes the subway and is terrified every day, but she does it.
Yes.
She actually spoke to Diamond and Diamond yesterday, so she interviewed, and she's one of the people
Good.
pursuing.
Good.
But the thing is, where are we as the adults? Our kids need us right now because in high schools, in universities, they're getting intimidated, threatened, and the police do nothing, security does nothing. Professors are worse than the ones doing it, professors. And where they're proud of it.
Yeah.
And where are we to go? And if I didn't have to work, I would go walk on campus with her. I really would. I would bring my brother, I could bring whoever I could, and I would friggin' walk her to class carrying my Israeli flag. But I can't, I have to go to work. So where are we to escort our kids, especially these young girls who are going downtown alone to go to class, and they're scared. They're scared. And we need to do something.
Yeah.
I want to see some
That's right.
big guys
That's
walking my daughter to
That's right.
class.
And what that something is, we need to train Jews properly. We need a proper response number. And we need to have the information, who is doing who's picking on the Jews, who's going after them, all the information about them. And we need a group, a small group, that's going to target them. That's what we need. That's how you change the dynamic of the fear when you go after those vicious anti-Semites. So that's it. That's one of the goals. Go ahead.
What's up that idea? What would it look like if all of a sudden we saw pictures of big guys walking with an Israeli flag and escorting students to work?
They wouldn't allow them on campus.
They would.
Nope.
You know, what
It's about private property, you're trespassing. They have their own security. And now you're interfering with their security and you're creating a disturbance. That's what they'll tell you, and they'll kick you off campus. Mayor's already not allowed to be on campus. What I would tell your daughter and anyone that needs something is to carry something. If it's pepper spray, if it's
$27, $100. Tell your daughter to get one of these. Everybody here should have one of these.
absolutely.
Coyote spray.
Go down to the doctor and say,
$26, you'll have it tomorrow.
put in their purse, carry it. Everyone has to carry something. You have carry something, you have a problem. No, I feel bad. My niece got that. My daughter, I just not appreciate it. You can't walk on camera.
Go ahead. Hang on. Go ahead. Yes. Go ahead. Yeah.
Support from this county mayor, it'll be a town. You can support.
But we have lip service.
We'll never get support.
I don't think, you know, I go back to my son. When we have to put our trust in politicians. This is, that's, don't do that. Don't do that. You know,
Barb, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you mentioned you want to train people to fight.
yes.
How are you gonna get the recruits? I'd like to be part of that, but show me 50 or 30 guys, young guys that are willing to, you know, as a show of force, show up when we need them.
Yeah.
And protect businesses, cemeteries, whatever we
You know,
need.
you know what, you know what, you know what? I've been,
What's the plan for that?
you know what, I've been around.
Yeah, I.
I've been around and I didn't predict that this war was gonna break out. And all of a sudden we have a meeting. I'm working with people, I'm organizing, I'm speaking to a lot of people, and we're gonna get there. That's all I can say. You know, do you have a plan right now? I don't have everything right now.
You've been ahead of GDL for 30 or 40 years.
Okay,
You know, who is your successor? Do you have somebody you're grooming? Are you mentoring a young person?
it would be nice. You know, it's fine. It's a sad commentary on our community. I wish there was the talent. Go ahead.
I used to go to those guys back in the late sixties and the early seventies.
Yep.
Were many fights then.
Yeah.
And I was there, I stood up.
Yep.
But today, if you try and stand up and you hit somebody, you're going to jail, you're gonna have more anti-Semitism, perhaps.
You know,
So do you have an alternative to that?
I've been contacted by a number of lawyers in the past week who want to help in that kind of matter pro bono. So you need that. And remember, self-defense, that's your right. And it's going on right now. So we can't just, and I know what happened in Allen Gardens. I know the guys from back then anyways. Yes.
Well, the biggest problem is that it's 3 or 4 months before you get and it's like what you said, so you got a mind shift. Because if you think about it, I think most Jews have an attitude of someone else can look at it.
Yeah.
Someone else.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest problem. How were you recruiting for your
Well, first off, I don't even think there's much of a problem to recruit in this kind of atmosphere right now.
I don't know, some guy in a mud hut 2 weeks ago said, you know, uprise against Jews in North America, and every Jew hid in their basement and kept their kid home from school. That's not the right
Well,
attitude.
first off, not every Jew. There are Jews that.
My kids at Leo Beck, maybe
I understand.
10% of the school. was-
I understand. So we gotta focus on that 10%.
Like, the Jews are just scared hiding. in
I
their
know, but you know what? We could say that there's so many in the community that are just scared. And therefore, because of that, why waste our time? You know, if the Leafs are playing tonight, we could just be watching the Leaf game.
No,
I don't
get
know
it,
if they're gonna win.
But if 50, 70-year-olds show up, nobody's gonna care. You need to
No.
recruit young.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And we're gonna work for that.
No offense, to anybody.
No, we're gonna work for that. We're gonna work for that. That's right. And I get the phone calls lately. One sec, who didn't ask? Who wants to ask? Go ahead.
So, first I want to say not everyone. So I was, 2 weeks ago, on Thanksgiving, I was the crazy lone woman who was all over the news. They recognized me from Twitter and CBC and CTV because I went downtown with wrapped in my Israeli flag
Right.
and stood in front of those friggin' terrorists.
Yep.
And screamed on the top of my lungs. And, to the point where I didn't even know what I was saying anymore.
Right.
But it enraged me so much to see
Right.
that hate when 2 days earlier, babies were beheaded.
Right.
So one thing we have to do is, I understand that Jews don't like to rally. It's not our thing, but there's no reason why 1,500 Palestinian supporters, terrorist supporters, can get their communities out with their flags and to wave their flags and chant their genocidal chants.
Yep.
And I was alone down there.
Yep.
There wasn't another Israeli flag in sight.
Yep.
There really wasn't.
Yep.
And I think, where are we? Because you know what, at the end of the day, there's not gonna be anyone else left standing to fight for us.
Listen, you're right. Listen,
Can I interject for a second?
yeah, go ahead, go ahead now.
But we also need to use our resources. There are people in this community with money. We need to cut off donations to organizations. We need to hold people accountable.
Yeah, 100%.
Schools to universities. They
They won't
should
give
get
me the
a penny,
JDL.
a penny from us.
They won't give to the JDL. They'll give to an organization.
That's right, they don't, that should be the name,
Don't.
Save the
or rules or whatever.
something big.
Talking over each other.
I spend at least 3 to 4 hours a night after working my full-time job.
Yeah.
I spend at least 4 hours a night going through social media to find the idiots.
Yep.
And so today, you know, I found 2 teachers in TDSB who tweeted things. So I sent notices to the superintendent and the director. And you know what? One of them, I know there was action taken against. So we need to find the people, hold them accountable for what they're saying, and use our intellect, use our money, and use our voice.
I agree, 100%.
I want to say something, regards to what you're saying. I think that's what you have to focus on, is the intelligence that we have and the power of our buying that we have in this community. Mayor's been preaching to the choir for the last 25 years. I know people here that have been in protests for the last 25 years. And unfortunately, the Jewish community in Toronto is very passive. We're not violent, Jews are not violent people, but we're not violent. In 2006, I don't know if you guys remember, at the last incursion to Gaza, we were at the Israeli embassy, and we maybe had 50 of them. A good friend of mine was the ETF. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I said, don't come. It really is not safe." They had snipers on the rock, and they had the horses. They had 10,000 of them showing up. Not 100, not 10,000 with the Hamas. But it doesn't matter how many we recruit. We're never going to have the numbers, and we used to go to the Palestine House and the Sassano. We're outnumbered. We have to play a smarter game, and we have to be proactive and not reactive. Let them show the world, let them show Toronto downtown who exactly they are. That's who they are, the savages. Let them, because once we come into play, the focus goes back on us. 2 years ago, we were beaten down at Nathan Phillips Square. We were maybe 50. We were surrounded by 15,000. How many were there? 10,000, 15? Please. Nathan Phillips Square with the police, and the police let them encircle us. At 9:15, they were. I said to them, let's get out of here. At 9:15, they started moving us out, and then abandoned us. They moved us off the property, and then they abandoned us. I don't trust the Toronto Police Service. I don't trust the police here at all, because they're there to for some reason to protect them. I don't know why. I hate crime. 1 second. Hate crime. There's a hate crime unit here in Toronto. When they're shouting Ed Yahud and they have Hamas, why not one arrest? Why not one arrest? Now, it took this slaughter that happened on October 7th to wake up a lot of people. A lot of people. What's disconcerting to me too here in Toronto, forget about the rest of the world, is that the moderate Muslims here in Toronto, where's the moderate imams? Where's all the Kumbaya interfaith Muslims? I haven't heard them say, this doesn't represent Islam. This isn't who we are. Now, silence in the face of evil is evil itself. They're complicit.
Absolutely.
We've had lip service from Ron Ford, from Tory, said no more Al Quds Day, no more of these hate fest. what happened, that one arrest. Now, if they were able to arrest the trucker, forget about it on your floor, the trucker, why aren't they going after the head of the guys that are organizing these hate fights downtown? Why are they putting them on notice that we're not gonna tolerate? Chow was at the Jewish community rally 2 weeks ago, or a week ago, whatever. She gave great speeches. Where's the action?
So I'm a principal of a school. And
We have 12 more minutes here, then there's gonna be a class here. Hang on, someone who didn't ask.
I've got a suggestion,
Go ahead.
not just. Okay, time to make a suggestion though, because we're all talking, this is not a group, we're gonna go to campus and beat people up. But, why not?
Get out of numbers.
Okay. What we can do, when you identify 2 teachers of the TDSB, we can get on buses, we can figure out where they live, we can show up at their house, and we can boycott in front of their house, let their neighbors know who lives beside them, and that they're supporting terrorists. There's probably not a lot else we can do, but this is the way we can take our numbers and show up these people. The other thing, if somebody in our community maybe can step forward, if we get some facial recognition software, there's thousands of people downtown, we can start identifying them. We can report them to the Canary Mission.
I like that.
They become heroes.
I like
They
that.
won't become heroes. We can report them to the Canary Mission, who keeps a list of all these
Yep,
people,
yep.
that if anybody's ever hiring, you've got to check the Canary Mission.
Look, one more thing, guys, important.
Something.
Everyone who wants to become involved, go on our website and send us an email with your contact information, all that. israelnow.ca, that's our new website. israelnow.ca. Go on it, send us an email, and we'll get, we're gonna get busy. We are getting busy.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Esther.
so we know who's responsible for all this, right?
Yes.
It's like 3 guys. We know them. Here's Allergy, right?
Yep.
Zachar Bangash.
Yep.
And Ali Mala.
There's some, and
And
there's,
Palestine.
yeah,
That's it. Forget about the 10,000 other people out there. It's 3 guys doing this.
Yep.
They're all Shiite Muslims at 9,000 Bathurst Street.
Yep.
Why can't we focus on that one guy? Fearless.
Yeah.
Why can't we do something about one freaking guy?
because you know what, he's actually not the regulator.
Because what?
There's other players now.
I know, but those are the 3 main dudes.
Okay.
Fearless
If
is
you
the
take out them,
one
the others
that
will be
shows
afraid.
up and terrorizes people at a black gate. It's one guy.
That's the guy I want to get.
That's the guy.
Okay, so look,
He's a good idea. He's the guy.
okay,
It's one guy.
go ahead.
I wanted to do
I
that.
would like people to say what's gonna happen in the next month or 2, when Mr. Trudeau is liable to bring in fresh refugees
100,000.
from Gaza. What can we do? This is very important.
Learn to fight and learn how to shoot.
The other guy, Mayor's gonna tell about the JRCC, the application. I just want to say 2 things.
Go ahead.
I just want to say 2 things, because it goes back to there are 2 things you can be proactive about. Number 1, make sure that in your neighborhood, you're aware of who's coming and going, and report anything suspicious. Order the police, or there's a group called the Shomrim, they're traveling around. If you see anything suspicious, report it. Take a license plate number, take a picture of the person. If you can confront them, that's better. If you're a bigger guy and you have a baseball bat in front of them. No, I'm not joking. Ask them what you're doing in our neighborhood. Why are you taking pictures? So that's the first thing. The second thing I recommend, and I'm telling you now to do, if you can get a long rifle permit, it's $200, and buy a shotgun. If you can't buy a shotgun, or you don't want to keep a weapon in your house, get a tank of bear spray, get pepper spray, get a cane, carry something, even when you're walking, carry something that you can use as a self-defense. Because I'll tell you something, right now, you need something to carry with you at all times. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah,
A number of years ago, Meir, gave me the privilege of speaking at Lawrence and, Marley. And my topic at the time was the fact that every time, they, come to the, consulate at Bloor and Avenue Road, we run out there to defend ourselves against it. I had said at the time, and the phrase now, the coining of it has become a little more popular. I said, Jews are the news. And if we don't show up at these things, they don't have a confrontation except yelling at a building.
Yeah.
Which is really insane. And I said at the time, and Meir listened to me and very kindly, they went out to Mississauga. The only problem with Mississauga or the Palestine House is that it's so bloody far away. It's not at Bloor and Avenue Road, we would be there all day long. I think that we need to choose where we go to defend us and not be at all of it. Because if they show up and we don't, then the press doesn't show up because there's no confrontation. They're yelling at concrete. That's fine. That's ridiculous. There are times when we should be there, but by us being, without us there, that they don't have anything to feed off of.
yeah. Well, it's all news right now when they're showing up. When they show up the way they are, they're in the news.
Well, then let them show up.
No,
They keep
but-
yelling at streets.
It's not just that.
What's
When they show up.
cutting down Avenue Road
Yeah.
and University.
Well, let them-
and it's argued in the front page on the news.
We're not stopping them from closing down Avenue Road. That's the police's
Yeah.
department. All we're doing is standing there.
Yeah, but when they're shutting down Avenue Road and University,
It's huge.
it's a bunch of Jew haters shutting it down
Yeah,
and making statements.
well, let them,
That's exactly what they are.
well, then let the
Yeah.
police take care of it. You know, because what, we have no impact.
We have to place our faith.
I understand that. They go and do it on their own. We aren't there.
Listen,
There is nothing, there's
in
no
a
channel.
peace-loving, groovy world, that's great. We're not in that situation. Go ahead.
There, I actually find out the Who's getting self-defense classes?
We'll announce it. We'll announce it. I'm speaking to a few, it's happening so quick, what's going on. I'm speaking to a few different personalities and we'll figure out the exact location that we're gonna do it at as well. So we have a couple of options.
Mayor, I want you to take this. This is the gun for, I want you to.
What's that?
It's a long time to get.
Weapons.
We're talking about physical attacks and physical defense, which is crucial. But what about the emotional and intellectual attack of you're an occupier and the views that I meet? I don't know how to answer that. We're not educated and we don't stand up to defend our land.
Yeah,
What about that? Is that not-
They're colonizing Canada.
yeah. Okay. Okay, one last, hang on, someone who didn't ask, go ahead. Right, speak up, speak up.
So you know me, so you know, I've been here for 30 years, right? I see what's going on. I'll put it this way, it doesn't start with you for trying to self-defend. You're not gonna be able to go one against one people. At the best case scenario, you're gonna be informed that you're gonna take out the shotgun. Most likely you're gonna end up in jail. So the first thing we have to start with would be probably trying to figure out the way we can get Jewish leaders in the government and politicians to start being on our side.
Yeah,
To protect us.
Yeah.
Against stuff like that.
Listen,
And we
listen.
have enough Jewish
Okay, okay,
politicians
look, I know,
who vote for-
okay, I know,
But not the last
Look,
time they-
listen,
all years
I know where you're going.
they're
with it.
talking.
Okay, I understand where you're going with it.
But it's a good
I
idea
understand where you're going.
to
with it.
start to have
But
somebody
we're not-
behind you.
We're
You
not,
don't have today nothing behind you. He's right.
no,
So it's a good point.
you want,
That's policy.
You want-
One of them.
no, you want to lobby politicians, that's not what this meeting is about.
But we have to
Okay,
figure
no,
out
no,
this
no,
gonna be
hang
one
on,
of the ways
excuse me,
to-
excuse me,
to be together.
excuse me, excuse me. That's for the UJ and the B'nai B'rith
They're not.
to have their
they're not doing
luncheons
it. There's
with
another-
politicians. I understand. But our purpose, we're just starting. We can't get into try this and try that, just a few things, a few steps in a different direction. And that's it. And the number one direction, first off, remember the concept, your thinking has to change. No fear, and internalize never again. And understand that we're responsible for our brothers and sisters.
Are you gonna
And
start
that's it.
organizing defense classes?
Yes.
You can send kids to?
Yes,
And people can.
we'll have it at least once a week, at least.
Where is it gonna be
Well,
publicized?
I'll be sending it out.
No, it's gotta be, there's gotta be a site that people can go to.
Then we'll have it on our website. Okay, we'll have it on our website. We'll upload it. We'll share it.
You need to find somebody that can help you with social media to get the word.
You're right. You're right. Absolutely.
Like, you're only gonna get younger people
You're right.
if you connect to them the way they're connected to the
There's no question about it.
Mayor,
Listen, everyone, the rabbi signaling me, there's gonna be a class here. But I want to thank everyone for coming out and thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to me. So you're not interested in it, so we'll try and do something about that. It's gonna happen. It's gonna bring you rich people. Yeah.